JM and the AM Wednesday here at 91.1 FM. And Roy Neuberger, welcome back to JM and the AM.
Nachum, I cannot tell you what a simcha it is to be here. We never forgot, my wife and I, who's with us in the studio this morning, our beautiful, beautiful show with you a few years ago. It's still what a simcha.
You should know that I went back to look at your biography and to just refresh myself, and I basically had remembered everything about you. That's how intrigued I was about your upbringing and the journey that has taken you all the way until today.
I really want to say I discovered Hashem at 606 East Ann Street in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
You're serious?
I'm very serious. At 2 a.m. on January 10th, 1966, the most incredible moment probably of my entire life and our life. We were already married there, and to go back there is a tremendously emotional, because I get very emotional in Ann Arbor. We're there twice a year to speak to this fantastic, Reb Foley Eisenberger's fantastic.
And you visit that very spot, I would guess.
Absolutely. I think we should be lobbying for one of those historical markers outside.
You know, it's funny, and I didn't realize, again, just to review, because a lot of people in the audience may not have heard our first conversation years ago.
Is that possible?
It might be possible. There's some new listeners out there. So just to review some of this, you were already married when you and your wife discovered Judaism together.
That is correct.
I believe you told us last time that you had never walked into a synagogue even on Yom Kippur. True or false?
100%
100% true. Even on Yom Kippur, your parents...
Nothing. I had a bris at the age of 31, Nachum.
That I don't remember.
I had a bris at the age of 31. May I just give you two more statistics from my family? I want to tell you, my father was nifter. He passed away a little over 2 years ago at the age of 107 and a half.
It made the headlines everywhere.
And that's true. He was a famous man. But even a more amazing statistic is that he put on tefillin for the first time in his life at the age of 100, a week before his 105th birthday.
Right.
I think that's probably a Jewish world record.
It's gotta be.
And just after reading my book, 2020 Vision, it had something to do with it.
Unbelievable. What was any other statistics you wanted to mention, or that's enough for now?
That'll do for now.
It's absolutely incredible. I'm sure you believe in this divine fate, how everything, in fact, is connected, and we discover all these things that are amazing.
It's a huge, what shall I say, it impels us, my wife and me, to feel that we really have a lot to say to the frum world, and they love when we come to speak to them, they love it. These girls loved our presentation, high school girls, because it inspired them. The Menahelis, the principal, was so thrilled because we were. We grew up with absolutely nothing. Didn't know what a challah was. Didn't know what a mezuzah was. Didn't know what Yom Kippur was Pesach was, and we had everything. We could do anything we wanted, live any way we wanted. We tried it all. As I say, the only thing, thank God, I never tried was drugs. Mm-hmm. But just about everything else we tried, and we found out every lifestyle is totally empty, and there's only Torah. That's all there is in the world.
So what was the most Jewish thing growing up? The most Jewish thing was?
Running away.
Meaning?
Running away from being Jewish. I'm not Jewish.
No, but there had to have been. Was there a dinner your parents went to every year that was a Jewish dinner, or nothing?
No, there was nothing. Running away. We don't have time for it on the air, but I have some incredible stories that illustrate this. But we had no Jewish content to our life, and we were so clearly Jewish. My father's middle name is Rothschild. My mother's maiden name was Salant, and we had absolutely nothing, zero, no bris, no bar mitzvah, not even Hanukkah, nothing.
So the UJA never showed up at your father's door for a donation?
They never showed up at my father's door for a donation. My father was a very generous man.
Right. Well known.
And they never showed up at our door for a donation. And I was so embarrassed to be Jewish that at our wedding, which was 11 years before we became observant, no rabbi. And then when my wife's grandfather insisted on a rabbi, I said, okay, only super reform, and I don't want one word of Hebrew in the ceremony.
Simple as that.
And I'm allergic. I'm going to break out in hives if I hear one word of Hebrew. And then we realized a few years later we were running away from ourselves, we were running away from Hashem, and there's no place to run.
I'm only half kidding when I ask this question. You're in 6th grade, you can't make it to school because you're not feeling well. Does your mother offer you chicken soup?
Chicken soup?
Because if yes, then that might be the answer to my question. That would be even that. There was no indication.
No way, baby.
There was no indication that because we are the way we are, or we come from where we come from, we eat this, we do this.
No way.
We have this one yearly ritual.
No way.
There's no such thing.
No way. Nothing. And I'm always happy, though, because the emptiness was so complete that when we...
Oh, it's better to hit rock bottom, you
That's
think?
exactly.
It is better.
Right, because if you have if you have 1 ounce of Yiddishkeit in your life, you can say, oh, I know what that is, and it's no good. I reject it. But I couldn't say that. I had nothing to reject. And that's why when we discovered it, and we met Rebbetzin Esther Youngreis in 1974, we realized this is it, and we were able to jump in with both feet.
So from the moment that this landmark event happened in Ann Arbor, how much after that were you and your wife, based on your standards, considered Orthodox Jews?
8 years later.
8 years.
8.5 years later.
And that journey, how would you describe? I know it's a long conversation, but how would you describe that journey?
So in Ann Arbor, I learned to believe that Hashem, there's a God, but I didn't want to be Jewish. So that's when I got into, we really got into Hinduism, Buddhism, finally Christianity. That was the end.
So there's somebody supervising everything on this world. Now the question is who?
Exactly. When we rejected those 3 practices, so then there was nothing left. And there was an incredible incident, which is probably, will take too much time right now,
right.
So which made me realize there's nothing left. The only thing I don't know anything about is being Jewish.
Right.
And then at that instant, Hashem introduced us to Rebbetzin Youngreis. There's no other way to describe it.
So can we verbalize what it is about Judaism that might be missing from other followings? Like, I don't know if we could do this in 30 seconds, but is there a way to tell people out there, hey, if you're in the Frum community, if you're in the traditional community, and you have all these questions, let me, Roy Neuberger, who's already done all this exploration, let me tell you the following.
Our story in itself is very powerful. I mean, the fact that we tried everything, I can attest that every way of life in the world is empty. And what's the test? The test is that the Malach, the angel, came to us, every person in the womb, and taught us the Torah. So when we finally meet that Torah in its purity, in its truth,
right.
You recognize it.
Right.
Because you recognize you've been listening to baloney all along, right. Up to that point, and the relief to begin living your life according to those words that you yourself heard in the womb, which you recognize now as, oh, I heard these words before, and you know the angel taught them to you, and then every mitzvah, every halacha you add to your life, you just feel, oh, this is it. This is right. We had no hesitation, learning more and more and more and more and more. What a relief. I can breathe. I can live. I was dead up to now. Now I'm alive.
So if I know people who are, I don't know, in the corporate world and hanging out with wealthy people and famous people and, have a choice 3 times today of the largest non-kosher buffets imaginable because of the circles that they're hanging out with, yet they tell me that the biggest enjoyment they get is when they go back to their hotel room and listen to Hasidic music. You understand that?
I 100% understand that.
You understand how it is not desirable, the food that's offered them, and the emptiness of the golf courses and the stock exchange is evident to them. All that you understand.
I grew up with a stock exchange, and I'd just like to add in about 15 seconds. Today, we're seeing the world falling apart little by little, drop by drop. The society we've been used to all our lives is really in chaos on every level, and right now it's becoming so tremendously clear that there's nothing but Torah. There's just nothing but Torah because everything else is falling apart.
So to the Orthodox Yeshiva high school student, especially those who might be listening to this program, modern Orthodox high schools who are dancing in a lot of different worlds and struggle with these questions every single day, you would say to them, stick with it. You are you are in an environment with your family and friends that unfortunately you can't appreciate because you don't know what goes on, in other circles, but is the A1, the best, the most productive and emotionally satisfying situation you could be in.
100%. In the turbulent waters of our time, there's only one life preserver. TORAH.
Does Roy Neuberger, when he observes people that are now like he was, for lack of a better point of reference, is it heartbreaking to you? Does it affect the joy you have for life? Do you still remain positive? And depending on your answer, I'll tell you where I'm going with this.
Even more so, I think it gives us tremendous joy because, first of all, they're there. So they'll listen. That's a beautiful thing. But I remember when I was like that, and there was nothing, and I know there's a Pintel Yid in there. We know there's a Pintel Yid.
So you're happy even if they're at the very beginning of the journey.
Oh, yeah.
I got you now. So you're there's no devastation there. You're full of hope. You're full of joy.
Yeah.
You're full of the knowledge, knowing that, hey, they're on the road. Even if they don't know it, they're on the road.
Listen, if I, the world's champion, former anti-Semite of the world.
Would you consider yourself that at that time?
Yeah.
No question about it.
Yeah, really. I'm
you would
serious.
have rather not hung out with Jews as a young kid.
Are you kidding? I denied I was Jewish. I really did.
You absolutely denied
100%.
If someone would ask you, the answer would be something other than Jewish.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I would never have admitted that I'm Jewish.
Finally, so for every young man and woman in our audience who looks with jealous eyes at their neighbors who might be children of privilege, who might have everything they ever wanted, who might be in every little league they ever imagined, have every electronic device ever created, whose parents, thank God, never have a problem paying any type of bill, who are and pine for an era when they and their family can enjoy the same thing. You would say to that child,
Garnished, not garnished. I grew up on Fifth Avenue.
G&G.
G&G. I grew up on Fifth Avenue. When I was little, I was driven to school, ethical culture school, by a chauffeur with a shiny black cap. Boy, was that embarrassing! And
you showed up to school in a limo.
And I had we had everything. And when I grew up, I could have gone out with. Let's not go into it, but also
any family you wanted.
Yes, any family. We go to Paris and eat in any restaurant and blah, 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 blah. And it's all empty. It's ashes. It's dust. It's depression. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. It's only Torah. That's all there is.
It's much better having Shabbos, having Torah, having kashrus, even if it's difficult to pay the phone bill.
Much better is an understatement. It's as my wife always says, it's life versus death.
We are the richest people in the world, and we need to remember that, even through all the trials and tribulations of life. And you wake up healthy, God willing. Everyone's healthy, and you're able to sit with all those generations. You have to realize what kind of wealth you have.
It's a very tough world. People are suffering. There's so much pain in this world. And Reb Nachum, I could not agree with you more. We must keep this in mind, that our Torah makes us bigger than billionaires. And we're going to see very soon, with God's help, a world where everyone is going to realize that.